What's happening, everybody? Here we are at the campground, as promised. Look behind me. I mean, I can't, it's just like, it's perfect. You can see everything that happens out there. C2000 Pulse. Now, we already know that I don't have anything out there pulsing. The other reels do not do that. Let's turn the Pulse on. I got 6-pound line on it. I know it came with 10. I'm hoping 6 will work on it. All I had was 6, so that's what we went with. And let's see if the Pulse will make something hit quick, like first cast kind of quick. Then let's just see, I mean, what is the Pulse? What is it going to feel like? What's it going to do? I am turning the Pulse on. It is in pulse position now. We're going to cast. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Definitely seen further, but we're going to go with that, let it fall. I'm very, very curious to see what this pulsating thing is like. Okay, I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. It's pulsing. It is. It's pulsing. And the line is jumping back and forth. That's exactly what I thought it would do. So there's the first cast with the Pulse, and I can even see it in the water. I can see the line zipping back and forth. I tell you, it's almost kind of funny because it almost makes you feel like you're getting a hit. But I'm not. But I can see it doing, it does exactly what it says. I think this is cast number 4. Oh, we had a hit. We had a hit. On cast number 4, we had a hit. Let's mark that down. We at least had a hit. And we were going with the shorter crank arm. You can actually see the line jumping. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but I can. But again, I'm using, it's a cinematic thing. I'm trying to give you all some beautiful colors and use a little bit better camera. Let's just say that that's 5, okay? It could be 6, I don't know. But we're gonna say it's 5. This is 6. And this thing does cast far. I will give you that. It does cast pretty far. Oh, something hit it. So number 8 got us another hit. That's funny. 4 and 8. 4 and 8 we got a hit. So what is it taking? 4 casts before we actually get any action. And I think I just messed up. All these weeds are cut out here except those. Why? Okay. Now we've got a jam. Okay, in typical Johnson fashion, the line is wrapped around the inside, around the rotor, in between the spool. Are we hung up again? We are. Okay. Let's see what that's all about. Because if we're tangled up again between that system, this is not good. Okay, see that? The line is getting between the rotor and the spool. I don't even remember what cast we were on. What was that, 2? 11? 14? I don't even remember. 2, I think. Let's just go with 2. With no pulse on. The pulse is not on. It's so weird to me how these things, I guess the line gets loose or something and it just begins to start fiddly-fooing up in between the daggone spool and the rotor. Oh. Cast 5, we had a nasty hit right there. It just boom, bam, boom, boom, and then it just stopped. Tried to set the hook on him, but yeah, he tried to pull the lure off. So we're getting hits within pulse or not. Now, if we get another one, we'll be tied for amount of good hits, because that one hit, I'm not even gonna call that a hit. That was just something that bumped it, and that's not a hit in my world. Okay, so like, we didn't catch a fish in either mode, pulse or non-pulse. Few hits either way. Let's change bait colors and see if we can try again, because the pulse didn't matter. It just didn't make a difference. It is pulsing. Oh, okay, the pulse, but the darn thing don't want to reel. Come on now, you got a fish now, you ain't supposed to act stupid now. Okay, if you put any pressure on this reel, it doesn't want to reel. What's that all about? You know what it is? I'll guarantee you it is. You probably, okay, first cast with the pulse on, we catch a crappie, chartreuse tail with a June bug colored body. But here's the thing, you have to flip that switch back. You cannot leave it in pulse mode when you're retrieving, because that little crappie right there almost made it unbearable to try to reel him in. Guaranteed that was its downfall. Not the line getting stuck between the rotor and all of that mess. Guarantee that's where the problem existed. So we'll switch it back to pulse mode. We'll cast again. We got bound up, typical Johnson thing there. Now some of my reels that I have, some of the Shakespeare's specifically, like the 1810 for example, you have to flip that switch if you want to keep from flipping backwards by accident and releasing that line again. Oh, well, we just had a heck of a hit right there. Okay, so what was that, cast number 2? Was that 1, 2? What was that? Yeah, he tried to pull the bait off with no pulse on. Got a hit right there. I don't know that there's any real way to test this correctly and make you understand, does it work or does it not work? A lot of it has to do with bait color more than it does anything, to me. Now with some baits, if you're using square bills or you're using jerk baits or you're using buzz baits or whatever, action makes a difference. But what I'm doing right now, the tail of this bait does all the work. I just find the right speed and depth. I do know that since I've been using it, it just started growling. It's got a grrr, I can definitely tell that. I think this is cast number 3. I'm not even, oh. Okay, all right, we've got a fish on the non-pulsating action. Okay, I do not like whatever that is. Okay, I was using the short crank and I kept skipping backwards. What are you? Oh, a gill. I should have known. Man, a pale gill. That right there tells you the fish, they are cold. That is a pale gill right there. Okay, that was the non-pulsating action on cast number 4, I think. So, at least they're biting. And if you notice, I'm going to try to show you. See what it's doing? See how that line's whipping side to side? That is your pulsating action right there. It really is just banging your line side to side through that elongated hole. Only problem is, when you hook a fish, you cannot reel it in that way. You have to flip it back over again. I ain't gonna tell you you can't, but when I tried, it didn't work. It was boom, bam, 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 bam. Okay, after our 3rd teardown rebuild, and I have tightened the nut on the top of the rotor so tight that it actually flexed and bent the screwdriver in my Leatherman. It comes off this time, it's just gonna have to come off. I don't know what else to say, because there was supposed to be maybe a star washer or something under it that kept it from moving or something. I don't know, but there wasn't one in it when I took it apart, so we're struggling with this one. Absolutely struggling. I'll have you a good review when we're done with this thing. Let's see if it'll catch something now that I've pulled another 14 feet of line off of it. And it gets snagged. How could you possibly be snagged? That's line that hasn't even been out of there yet. And when it does cast pretty far. Oh, we got one. I'm switching. I grabbed the wrong crank mode. We were in pulsation mode. And this thing has caught a fish. Because it has not been easy. This has been fishing from like morning to noon and late afternoon, and these fish, man, are just being stubborn. But it has been cold, so. And like I said, it does cast far when it's working right. But man, I tell you, it's been hard to keep it working right. The bottom half of this thing is really nothing more than the country mile. It's just this top half that is the gimmick. Oh, we were pulsating. You got to switch out of pulsation mode. I can't believe we've caught 2 fish with this. He's fighting too. Oh, that's a bass. We've caught a bass with the Pulsinator 2000. Come here, you bass. Thank you, thank you. I'm a happy guy right there. Just to have caught that, I am tickled. Tickled I am. If I had anything to drink, I'd be pickled, to be honest with you. Thank you, sir. Whew. 2 fish with the Pulsinator. Let me send that to Andy. I'm gonna get right on here right now. I'm right in front of you guys. And I'm gonna send that picture to Andy. Okay, it's Sunday, my last day of vacation. Boy, is that depressing to talk about. So we won't get into that too much. I have begged Evan to come with me, who's behind the camera right now. He has a microphone that we think might work. Say something, let's just see if it works.
Hello, is this working? Hopefully it's working.
What we're doing is, we're trying to finish off something I started at the campground. And what that is the Century Pulsinator 2000, which is not really what its name is. It's actually the Johnson Century 2000 with pulsating action. We have put some new line on it, put it on another rod that's going to give us a little bit further throw, I believe. And we're going to hit the old review spot up here. It's a nice day, it's 65 degrees. See if we can't catch a few fish with this thing. And maybe Evan will help me keep count of how many casts I make with in pulse mode or off mode, whichever, because I have a tendency to forget. But anyway, we're heading up there, going to give this a try, and hopefully lay to rest whether the pulsating action works or doesn't work. Is it just the bait? Was it just a thing? Is it just as Dan Selvig said, some reels were made to catch people and some were made to catch fish? Is this one of those reels that just made to catch people? I don't know. But somebody put a dum-dum sucker in the box for a reason. Hopefully it was just because he thought we liked candy. But we'll see, I guess. Anyway, off we go. Okay, so we're out here pulsinating. We have the Century 2000 with the pulse action. It's in pulse mode. I actually have it on a longer OTX Ozark Trail rod, so we can get a little bit more distance since it is extremely windy today. Again, 14 mile per hour to 20 mile per hour gusts today. We're gonna give this thing a try. I put a new line on it. Got SOS trout magnet line on it, and I wanted the very best. We have it in pulse mode right now. We're just going to cast away here and see if we can hook into something, making sure we grab the correct crank mechanism. Short arm for faster retrieve, long arm for power. This is the most technologically sound. I mean, it is a breakthrough if there ever was breakthroughs. This is it right here. Of course, they only made it in '93 because they didn't want to make it too easy for people to catch fish. Funny thing is, if you take a really close look at the tip of the rod,
It is moving.
you can see it. I mean, it's doing the pulsation thing. Now let's switch to the non-pulsating mode. I'm trying to stay in the same place just in case that the fish did see this thing in pulse mode and just didn't like it. So I'm trying to keep it out of pulse mode now in the same spot just to see if the, uh-oh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in non-pulse mode, we've caught a fish. Now, let me just say, it is retrieving fairly well. It's a little bass. He seems to be cold. He's not big. This could very well be the one that was hitting before because he's not big. Is he cold? He's chilly. He's not as cold as the fish were at the campground. I have a built-in thermometer in my left hand. Y'all didn't know that. That was something the $6 million man didn't get. I got it. I also think that I have a can opener in my pinky. Little bass caught, non-pulsing mode. Okay, so that is strange. Now, I did get a couple of hits in pulse mode. Can we say that maybe was the fish? I don't know. Let's switch back to pulse mode and see if we can do anything. So does it pulsate? Yes. Is that technically a pulse, really? I mean, what really is it? Is it creating a sound or is it creating a movement? That's what I'd like to know. What is it actually doing? Because I can feel it. I mean, I can feel the thing, the whole rod is jumping back and forth. But again, is that a movement or is that a sound that it's creating? That line wiggly waggling in the water like that, you know, is that something you want the fish to see? We kind of go out of our way sometimes to buy line that's less noticeable to the fish. But when you got that V coming, oh, okay, we pulsated and we've hooked. I got to get out of pulsation mode. Okay, this is what stinks. I had to hold that fish with tension on the line in order to switch out of pulsation mode to reel him in. That's not fun. I don't like that a bit. These little guys are feeding. They're pretty thick. Not big, but thick. If you take a good look at this fish, if you can imagine him in, say, 5.5 pound mode, that's how you want him to look right there. Thank you, sir. Now that was in pulsation mode. Let's take it out of pulsation mode, cast back over there, which it's not in pulsation mode now because I had to turn it off in order to retrieve. And see, okay, I caught a fish and you see the line now doesn't want to come out of the reel. This is a Johnson trait. Actually, it is any reel in the spin cast realm that doesn't have a level line system. It seems to do that. We're pulsinating. The water is extremely low. I mean, like, I would say this is about 5 feet out from where I normally am. Because usually where I'm standing right now, there's water. Well, if you take a look at that tree right there, you can see where the water level on that tree usually is. See how it's clean right there? It's a stripe. The grass is growing. Didn't have any grass over there. We got grass over here, but you know what they say? Grass is always thicker over here than it is over there. That's probably not what they say at all. Who is they, by the way? Who is they, and whatever happened to coffee flavored coffee? Why has everything got to have a flavor now? I mean, wasn't coffee flavor enough? Just saying. Also, I think I'm noticing in non-pulsating mode, it casts slightly further when you don't have that line slapping going out. So it probably would be a good idea to cast in non-pulsating mode. Switch it into pulsating mode if you want that when you're retrieving. If you catch something, switch it back out of pulsating mode into non-pulsating mode. Meanwhile, remembering to grab the longer of the crank arms to reel it in. There is a learning curve. There's so much of a learning curve with this reel that it's not really a curve anymore. It's almost a complete, like, U-turn. This is also probably going to end up being a reel that we eventually have to take with us again. Or better yet, I think I have an idea. Aim that camera at me just a second. I have an idea. And I know exactly what to do. More on that later. I know exactly what to do. One more cast right here. I'll tell you what, we've made, what, 3 casts over here? 2? Let's just switch it to pulsating mode and see if it attracts anything. Or flings it over a limb, gets stuck in between. We have an issue. We have our first what the heck thing going on. You can see where the line is going in at. It is above the spool and the rotor right there. If you fish with Johnson reels, buy you a Leatherman. I don't even care if you buy a Gerber. You better buy one though, because you're going to do this, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, there's some. Someone help me understand. This one even has the plastic. My God, it is all bound up in here. This one even has the plastic ring. This plastic ring that's supposed to keep that from happening. But it is all screwed up. Okay, so let's just talk about the 1993 Johnson C2000 Pulse. I don't think its time is over yet. What we're going to do with this video is we're going to go through the footage from the campground where I caught some fish with this thing as well. We're going to add that in there. Did we have a definitive answer to whether the pulse thing is the answer or non-pulse? Not really. I do believe it's something you can use if you get out there fishing with it and what you're using isn't catching anything. We'll flip it in the on position, flip it into the pulse thing, see what it does, see if anything changes, see if anything helps. I'm still a firm believer, and a lot of times the action that you make with the lure and the color that you use is where it's at. So to have all these gimmicks, you know, the short crank arm, the long crank arm, switching from off to on with the pulse action thing, there's just a little bit, there's a little too much going on there. Because obviously you can't really retrieve with it in the on position. It's very hard, so you have to flip it back. I think you can cast a little further when it's in the off position, so then you have to flip it. Once it gets to where it is, you flip it to the on position. If you hook something, you flip it back to the off position. Then you got to make sure you haven't grabbed the shorter crank arm instead of the long one, because then it's harder to reel in. It's just it's a little too busy, a little too much going on. Also, I did find out that I believe the cap for the Country Mile 10, which I have at the house, will screw right onto it. However, the bodies are slightly different, but it should still fit. So if you ever had one of these things and you're not digging the pulsinator thing too much, take it off. You can find a cap to a Country Mile, put that over on it. But that's the best I can tell you about the reel. As Dan said, some reels were made to catch people, some were made to catch fish. And at that time frame, Johnson, even though they were still being made in the U.S., I think Johnson was doing anything and everything he could to get people to buy the reel and keep them in business, and which I wish they still were. I really do. I think with the right leadership at the time, I think they probably could, if they'd had somebody standing in there looking at the pulsinator, holding it in their hand and going, "Are you kidding? Really? This is the best we got? You can't come up with anything better than this?" You know, again, I'm no engineer. I'm no rocket scientist by any means or anything like that, but I can look at things like that and go, this is not what's going to keep us in business. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Obviously at this point there's going to be, and you've probably seen, footage from the campground with the reel and everything. So I hope you enjoyed it. Andy, thank you for sending it to me. I appreciate the chance, I guess is the best way to say that, to experience something that I most likely would have never experienced in my life. And that is getting a sucker dum-dum in the box with the reel. I appreciate that too. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Evan, thank you for filming this last part. And we'll see you on the next one, whatever that next one may be. Also, we're going to go get a cheeseburger, so there may be a little bit of that at the end of it, because I know I've been talking a lot about cheeseburgers lately, and I've been eating corn dogs instead. Doesn't really make sense, does it? It just makes the cheeseburger that much more special from wherever we get it from. But we're going to go get one now, because I'm tired of talking about it. I'm hungry. Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the greatest cheeseburger in the world. But it is the #3 combo at Sonic. The bacon double, better than everybody else's whatever cheeseburger combo with tater tots and a sweet tea, wherever that went. It's way over there. Boo, you're all up under my feet. So I'm gonna have a bite. It's a big one. I don't know what if y'all have Sonics where y'all are at or whatever, but ours is pretty darn good. Oh yeah, that's going to do some damage right there. That is at least a double bypass right there. Hope you enjoyed the video.